Good evening. Happy Monday, and welcome to Manic Mondays with Miss K on Attorney Vincent Davis's platform. We are here every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, where parents, surrogate parents, presumed parents, or any other parent status that you are outlined in your state as can come and tell their maniacal story about their corrupted walk with CPS. So, as usual, I would like to take a moment of silence for our brothers and sisters that are not here with us, those that have fallen to the wayside, and those that are still coming back. So, again, I'm your host, Miss K, and basically, I want to give you guys an explanation of last week's, emotions. As parents, there are a lot of things that we deal with on a daily basis when it comes to interactions or things not being honored, violation of rights, or just overall reunification, agreements or parenting time. Now, as far as my situation, we reconvened back to court December 1st, where the petition for the termination of my parental rights is being, heard. So on the last court date, they were supposed to do a few things that were outlined on the disposition regarding the guilty finding of neglect. Now, in my defense, you know, there were many different reports that came out. So the fact that neglect was used and they're trying to find a permanent neglect finding to where, my mental illness seems to supersede the level of supervision or guardianship that I provide for my children. Everybody knows, whether it's community, family, or friends, I am the babysitter. I am Miss KK. I do community events. I coordinate, different activities for children in our community. These things are something that I've been doing my whole life. My whole life. I'm like, the hostess with the mostest. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I'm saying that because the level of interaction that I have with my community children and also, in combination with my bio children, it seems that the community is very appreciative of the supports and the activities or events I provide for our community youth. I was a parent that, was part of the Parent Teacher Association, the student leadership team, the Title I committee that allots funds, for school programs. These are things that are in the best interest of not just my children, but all children that are either in that school, that district, or that state. Now, as usual, I have to let you guys know, although I am licensed to give information, I am only giving educational information, and this is not legal advice. So, I just want parents to know that emotions in this process are allowed to be demonstrated. They are allowed to be acknowledged and they are allowed to happen. You cannot bottle up all of this overwhelming, depression, miscommunication, disappointment, or confusion. If you feel, and I can't really say feel because Mr. Davis said it's not about feeling, I have to take that back. When certain laws supersede the social worker's input, the amount of narcissism and malice that runs through those people is insane and inhumane. It is very disturbing that people work for an agency that is okay with destroying families, with separating children from their parents. They are okay with kidnapping them, trafficking them, and then benefiting from them financially. And as long as the child remains in the state that the funding is being given in, the agency and whatever entity is outlined or umbrellaed under that major agency is copacetic, complacent, and cool with everything. And we as parents just have to try to pull everything back together as though we were like, I want to say like Humpty Dumpty or something that you have to put back together. But if you realize when something breaks, it's never fully restored the same way. And, although a lot of people, do get their children back, you never get the same child back. You never get that child that you nurtured, implemented morals and values in, gave them resources and supports to make them safe, healthy, productive, and most of all, loved. You cannot tell me that, as usual, an agency that is designed to fail you from the very beginning are the ones that get to dictate the competence or safety measures that we as parents possess. That is extreme disassociation and psychological warfare. They are putting us in a triggered situation as parents and manifesting a decline of either combativeness, aggression, physical activity, or just overall mental anguish. You cannot possibly tell me that is an effort toward reunification at all. I was supposed to have family didactic therapy to mend the toxicity that these agencies seem to either impose or neglect, depending on the situation. A person like myself, in my history, I was extremely combative and aggressive. But as I learned to use my coping skills and my treatment plan and the resources that minimize the triggers and the impulsive behaviors that led to unnecessary dysfunction, I have definitely accommodated humility and humbleness at its finest. And even now, with the new case planning team that I have a case planner whose level of incompetence supersedes the job title by far. This person never knows anything, but can tell me everything. This person literally took information from an alleged faculty worker from an educational institution, but could not tell me this person's name. And this person was supposed to be in administration, mainly outlined as the principal. So you cannot tell me you spoke to the principal, but you don't know her name as the case planner because he's not licensed. You cannot tell me that she told you something. You can remember what was said. You cannot remember her name, and you did not confirm what her title was, if there was any. But because I'm a person that goes from the top and works my way down to the little man, by the time I reach these case planners or managers or directors within these agencies, I have already spoken to, again, their boss and their boss's boss. So it's a little insulting, antagonizing, and disrespectful to think that based on my history and the things you see outlined in the jacket of my file, that people are not subject to change, to mature, to evolve, to metamorphosize. Everyone changes, whether it be for that reason, that season, situation, or resolution. Everything has the option to accommodate or compromise or conform to whatever situation may be in the best interest of your children. I am living proof that every day there is something neglectful done within the aspect of CPS and the things that they have not honored as far as court orders, honored as far as laws for the state that you reside in, have not acknowledged constitutional and civil rights at all. And when you let them know that their level of knowledge seems to be neglectful to the point where it could possibly, impose a detrimental, possibly fatal situation. I have been telling this foster care agency and CPS for almost 3 years now that my children have allergies, medication, environmental, and food. My younger child was given medication that she was allergic to. And had I not been the proactive, informed parent by they consider it harassment. I consider it being sufficient. Or it's basically being anal or just basically staying on top of everything. I'm an avid reader, and I definitely research the things that are either a positive resource when it comes to supports for my children, or I might inquire about safety or health concerns that are not being honored by New York state law, nor by an agency or its representatives, such as the foster parent or guardian. Now, again, with my situation, I have been dealing with a lot of consents and authorities given by a foster parent that's not even kinship, not even blood, no relative, not even a friend, but they're not a stranger. So, with the knowledge they have of the type of person I am when it comes to my innocence, the amount of games that are being played are a little redundant and a little insulting by extra means by far. That's all I can say. I have no words for the amount of overstepping or the authority that this foster parent may have based on a title my children may give her to be comfortable in this uncomfortable or unfamiliar traumatic situation. And even though there may be, statements that were made allegedly by my children that, let it be known that, my communication is not wanted at this time by them. And that is understandable. But that does not mean that is what is going to happen. Because legally, you can only take into consideration a child's wishes in New York City at the age of 12. And although the wishes might be, acknowledged and considered, They are not the ultimate decision by the judge. And if any parent, representative, agency, or the positions within are okay with children saying they are not in the best spirits to see their parent, whether mother or father, me personally, if I, you know, was within in this job stature or had one of these job titles within these agencies, I would do, more of an investigation to find out what are the reasons behind, the restriction of communication when it comes to the innocence. And based on statements that were made in negative in a negative stature that outlined me as the problem or outlined me as harassing this foster parent, this agency, these workers, these teachers, these clinicians. I am only putting my foot down to what is legal, lawful, written, and constitutionally my right. Parents, you must know your rights. The social worker may have a suggestion, and that's all it is. You must put in the proper paperwork when these things are requested, suggested, or ultimately implemented without any authority or court order. And I feel like in my situation, the number one thing that was violated was my due process. It has been over 1,000 days that my children have been in care. It has been over a year with no communication, with the exception of October 1st. I had a collateral session with my child and her therapist. And from that October 1st session, my child decided to get up and leave her classroom in the school. This is something that has been going on for a while. But yet, my 12-year-old school is under the impression that this foster parent is either a grandparent or a great aunt, and she's not even a friend. She has consented to mental health services, altered and amended psychotropic medication, registered my 12-year-old for a school that I would have never picked based on their scores and not accommodating her services and not and this is the where the pickle lies. My children don't have medicals in school. The DOE for both of my children have no medical on file for this year at all. Now I know that is negligence at its finest. And my 10-year-old's nurse from her school literally told me my child can carry her medication on her person because she's at that age. But here is where the gray area lies in New York City. And I know this for a fact. If a child has a cognitive, intellectual, or physical impairment that alters their mental status, their physical mobility, or their learning, the way they learn, their learning development, that is the gray area that does not allow them to have that comfort of self-administering medication on school grounds during school hours. especially if the child has a one-to-one, which is a person that stays with them all day to make sure they stay focused, just in case you parents didn't know. So, there's been so much illegal, unnecessary, restrictive, voluntary, just insanity. I am living in my own insanity with all the knowledge I have, with all the information I get, with all the tangible correspondence I prove. And yet, my allegation is that I was losing touch with reality. Well, I mean, in my world, in my reality, people honor what they say and actually do their job. So this is not something in my imagination. This is a freaking nightmare that I cannot wake up from. I had a meeting with the leadership team from the foster care agency, the president, the manager, and the case planner. 31 questions were asked, whether they were questions, concerns, or inquiries on my part. And not one of those questions could be answered at that time. But I gave them 10 days, and they still will not be ready. Guarantee it. Because nobody can even tell me why my children's pediatrician from birth has been removed from their insurance without my consent or a court order that specified otherwise. And I have all my rights. They have not been terminated as of yet for any reason. But yet, this foster care agency seems to keep telling these clinicians and these educators to give them the information and they will pass it along. For anybody watching that does not know what my court order says, it clearly says I can have information directly from these clinicians, educators, and any other providers that are communicating or treating my children in New York. So if they've had a pediatrician that has been seeing them from birth, and right before they're supposed to get a wellness check for my 10-year-old to go on a school trip because she's graduating this year, these people took 11 days to give me the consents when they could have been emailed directly to me or mailed directly to me. And after all of that hustle and bustle, I was told my child is no longer interested, which is fine because I will do anything for my children. And the reason that I got from one of the school employees was confusing, especially based on the information I got from the foster care agency prior to the consents being signed. Because they were negligent on this medical that was a must in order for her to participate in this trip, the lackadaisical effort of the case planning team, the foster care agency, the leadership teams, the foster parent, the DOE, and New York Health and Hospitals are all at fault. Because for my children to not even have a medical on file, they are out of compliance for New York's New York City DOE K through 12 schools. But where are the consequences? Where's the reprimand? And who is going to be responsible? Nobody has any consequences, responsibility, acknowledgement, ownership, or accountability on any platform. And then when you reach out to the other agencies that are supposed to investigate these corrupt agencies, such as the Office of Family and Children's Services, the mayor, the administration for Children's Services in New York City, where they have an investigator that comes out or investigator that, follows through with either reports that have been made or information that has been given by an outside source, especially when it's something that is similar or exactly what I have been stating as the parent, out of concern, out of legal aspect, out of the judge's orders, and out of constitutional right. Like, you have to make it make sense. How do these people expect us as parents to remain in a mind frame to provide safety, love, health, and guardianship in a positive manner when all they do is bring negativity by negating everything that would replenish the separation? You have to make it make sense. You cannot tell me I am mentally impaired, but I'm the legal authorized consent giver for my children's medical needs, educational needs, religious needs, and financial stability. But then on the flip side, you're telling me I am not in services. I have been giving compliance letters every 2 weeks since the beginning. These people keep telling me they're unaware that my children possess mental illness to where they're in treatment. I get collateral with their therapists weekly by court order. But the fact that these people don't know from the agencies or their representatives and whatever entities are within, these people don't even realize that the information given by these clinicians, such as therapists, psychiatrists, and medical providers, there are things that are subject to question when it comes to the adequate supervision that is not being demonstrated, to my knowledge, based on the collateral and conversations I've had with various treatment providers. So you have to either talk to me nice, with adequate correspondence, or continue to be silent and invisible, because that works better than getting me, you know, agitated with information you have not confirmed nor investigated or possibly not even acknowledged. You cannot be serious with the level of disgust I have been tolerating since February 8th of 2023. I did not get to see my 12-year-old graduate. My 10-year-old graduates this year, and I will not miss it for the world. There is way too much technology for us as parents to not miss it. The fact that a lot of our parent warriors are in situations to where they don't even know where their children are. And my heart breaks for them. But most of the laws, when it comes to access or information, are generally similar. So, to my knowledge, in New York City, a parent is allowed to have access or a possible visit, whether it be electronic or physical, with their child 24 to 72 hours after removal. I have spoken to over 50 parents that never happened for. And I am one of the 50. I never received that. I did not get my first communication or visit for my case until February 24th of 2023. And they were taken February 8th. And now that their attorney seems to be, halting the family didactic therapy based on him not communicating with my children, when I didn't see that on the court order, nor Was it, said in the minutes? But okay, fine. If the children's attorney is supposed to communicate with them, that still does not deflect or negate the fact that the judge ordered that therapy back in July. Actually, it was technically in March when we were supposed to hear the first decision, and then we didn't go back until April, and then again in July, and then August, September, and then we'll be going back in December. They have not initiated any possible supports for anything. These people gave my children a psychological evaluation. And when I asked for it, it seemed like, it was a blame shift. Well, you didn't get it. You didn't get it. Listen, I'm a person that is paperwork efficient. I refer back to everything. And the fact that these workers don't realize that deliver service logs contain all the malicious information that they fail to admit into discovery, which could possibly prevent a lot of these parents' heartache and, psychological breakdowns. It is very hard. And I'm going to speak just for me. I suffer with mental illness, substance abuse history, and medical ailments that make me wish sometimes the pain would just go away. But then on the flip side, I invite the pain because then I know I'm still living, which means I know the fight is not over. And my parent warrior, Michelle, said to me just right before my show, she said she would do it without hesitation until her breath, until her last breath. And I could definitely identify with my parent warrior. And, parents, we got to hold each other up. She's going through a tough time, and we're here for you, Michelle. We're here for all our parent warriors. If you just need to talk, reach out. There's always someone to listen with no judgment, no bias. You should not have to suffer in this betrayal and destruction alone. You should have support beside you on both sides behind you, guiding you to that victory. Because parents, victory is possible. It is very possible. There have been many a times that I was just so exhausted psychologically and emotionally that I wanted to throw in the towel. But I'm a mom. I'm a mom 25/8. Anything else is optional. And when these people destroy our lives by kidnapping our children based on something someone said and take their time and drag their ass and separate us from our innocence unnecessarily, it's inhumane. And they have no empathy, no regard for human life, no sustainability for the motivation that gives us as parents to get up and live in this insanity daily. Getting up, going to work, coming home, doing homework, cooking dinner, to do it all over again every day for the innocence that you gave life. And these people don't realize the innocence that, we allowed to be born into this corrupted world with these corrupted people and these disgusting agencies. They tarnish your reputation. They slander you with defamation. They penalize you for history and the abuse you may have received from either a partner a parent, or just a program. Nobody is exempt from being emotional. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to just want to sleep. You are allowed to yell. You are allowed to be pissed off. You are allowed to have a voice. We hear you. We hear our parent warriors. And we are here for you guys. Reach out to Attorney Vincent Davis. Reach out to other parent warriors on our platforms. Because one voice can save a life. One ear can pull you back. One shoulder will keep you breathing. And I am nobody that is better than. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I deserve for my children. I know what they deserve to have from me. And I know I will never give up. The fight for innocence is real. The fight for innocence is the fight of your freaking life. That is a fight that your knuckles will stay bloody until the bitter end. Every ounce of sweat, every drop of blood, every tear we cry is all for our innocence. Those perfect, priceless, undamaged, uncorrupted, innocent little people. I love everybody's children as though they were my own. I don't penalize children based on interaction with the adult. I don't penalize any kid for something their parent has done because innocence is pure and should not be corrupted by the ones that birthed them. We have to show them different because it's us against the world. Like I tell my girls all the time, and I will never stop saying it. All we have is each other. You are your sister's keeper, and y'all are amazing. Every piece of innocence is amazing and pure, priceless, and flawless. So, parents, remember, never give up the fight. Innocence is worth everything we stand for. When we're tired, when we're depressed, when we're overwhelmed, when we're angry, when we're sick, when we're emotionally hurt, and when we are warriors, we fight until the death. And I've been down more times than I can imagine with these medical issues. So if God spared me, it is to make change. It is to show innocence that we love them. We will never give up. These people tell our children all kind of crap. They corrupt our perception. They corrupt the perception that our children have of us. by telling them malicious things, slanderous things, defaming things. They exposed censored statements in their company, in their presence, or to them specifically. What type of human is okay with negatively speaking about a child's birth parents with ease and say they're in the best interest of the child? They are providing adequate supervision or guardianship. They are expressing willingness to adopt children if goals are not met. It is amazing how agencies and representatives are okay with basically just getting rid of you. So it's very hard to grieve a child or children when they're still living. But if you have no communication, no access, no input, and no voice, how can you advocate for them positively, safely, productively, and lovingly if these people continue to trigger manifestations that cause us as parents to become erratic, impulsive, and dangerous? It's like fighting fire with fire. It's to catch 22. If you state that you need help because these people are sending you into a decline of psychological, basically, they're putting you in a psychosis. They are causing psychotic behavior based on you giving them information that you have confirmed, documentation is available, and you have, excuse me, and you have various representatives, such as, again, teachers, doctors, school staff, and just other people and family members they interact with. Because these people will take everything from you, drive you into a psychotic break, and then point the finger to let everybody know, see, we knew it. But what they do is they wind you up, like a toy, wind you up and let you go off to the races. And just when you get ready to wind down, that is when, boom, they hit you with the side effects. That's where that timeline, that the federal AFSA timeline, the 15 out of the 22 consecutive months. This is when they restrict your reunification services or your parenting time. This is when they put all the negative things that you have done out on the table and don't express why. Not that there's any justification for negativity, but if I've been telling you for 6 months, 14 days, and 6 hours that this is this and this is this, and I've given you documentation, tangible paperwork in your hand, you're looking at it with both the eyes you were born with and possibly two more. And you can still turn to me as a representative of this corrupt ass agency and tell me you'll get back to me. So now, told you 6 months in, I'm at the point where everything becomes time sensitive depending on what module you're in. And right now, I've been trying to figure out emotions, petitions, or things that are done illegally in malice or violating the court orders have not been heard, as though legalities don't play a part in the upbringing of my children, what they're entitled to, what is written, and what I will no longer accept in dismissal, laction, or the clear disregard for my parental rights. You cannot restrict my educational access because you think the foster parent is kinship, and stand on the phone and tell me, as a administrator for this school, that we had a meeting with the grandmother and the foster care agency. She's not a grandmother because their grandmother lives in another state. Oh, no, no, no. We know she's their great aunt. She is nothing but a great pain in my ass. So at the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong. And karma is one of them bad. She's a bad one. She's a bad mamma jamma. But I want to let all your parents know, be assertive, not aggressive. Be passionate. Be resourceful and knowledgeable. And don't back down. You stand firm on that information and you tear down those paper walls, like my parent warrior Michelle said. She wrote us a beautiful song, Parents, to put it on this platform because she deserves recognition, and she sang it from her heart, and I felt it in my soul. She is an amazing mom, and I've only known her for a short period of time, but her loyalty is genuine. She is non-judgmental, and she was targeted because she had a voice that told the truth. Parents, I'm not saying, you know, dive in head first, but there are ways to tell your story. There are ways to get your message across. There are ways to be your innocence biggest cheerleader. Talk to Mr. Davis. Talk to me. Talk to Betty Joe, Bob, Michelle. There are so many other parent warriors that are just like us. You are not alone. You can never be alone. We are parents 25/8. Stand firm. Be in your truth. Stay informed, because knowledge is power, and nobody can take education from you, no matter what they try to do. So remember, parents, never give up the fight. Innocence is worth everything we stand for, every day, every hour, every minute, and every second. We love our children, and I love my parent warriors. They have assisted me on this journey just by reaching out, because an ear, again, can save a life. I've been on that ledge, honestly, not in a literal term, but hypothetically, where your mind gets so clouded with the things that you know are legal and you're right, and they are just looking past you as though you don't exist. I am here to stay, to fight, and to pass the message. So as usual, my message is conveyed, and I usually take the last 10 to 15 minutes to, try to give any information from the comments or the questions that any of my viewers may have. And usually my husband does that, but I think he's a little tired. So if there are any parents that would like to tell their story and pass their message, don't be afraid. There are ways to express your hurt, the corrupted walk you are, basically exercising every day, and the level of tolerance we are accepting, because anything is everything for all the things when it comes to our children. And, like I said, I was going to answer some questions.
You only got one.
Oh, my husband said we only have one. So I'll let Mr. Jordan ask to, and give me the question so I could see if I could give some advice or information. So who was the question from?
It's from 5 kids in a camper.
So 5 kids in a camper.
They said what to do if you are requesting information and not being given said information.
You have to my knowledge, in New York City, you have to reach out to your attorney. That's first and foremost. If you don't have an attorney, you need to get one. So reach out to the law offices of Vincent Davis. The number is below on the screen. If, you'd like to be a guest, you can reach out to our producer, Grace, or also reach out to the number below. Or you can email me or find me on Facebook at KK Richardson if you'd like to be a guest or pass your message. Or if you'd like to tell your story and are a little camera shy, there are ways to get your message across. Parents, the system is designed to fail us from the very beginning. Don't give them any area to win. Just when you think you're down and out, reach out to your parent warriors. Reach out to your supports. Reach out to those people that can pull you back, keep you here, and walk with you in this fight of devastating corruption. We are here every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, on attorney Vincent W. Davis's platform. I'm your host, Miss K, and this has been Manic Mondays with Miss K. And remember, parents, never stop fighting. Innocence is always worth it. Peace and blessings. Grace.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last